So now let's move on to your book, right? Diary of a
Mhm.
Muslimah. When I saw the title, I thought it was a story about like a Muslim related story. But then as I
Mhm.
read on, I just realized that everyone can relate to it. It's just about
Mhm.
um, a young Muslim lady navigating
Yeah.
life and
Mhm.
with all the challenges that comes with that. So, what was your inspiration behind that?
My inspiration actually, I get asked a lot of times, like if I could get like 100 naira for every time someone asks me, how are you able to do all of this? I'll probably be a millionaire. So I get asked a lot. And secondly, I think there are two reasons. So I started putting out short stories about things that happen and how I'm able to navigate my way. And then second, there was a point in my life where I felt like I needed space. I was doing all of these things and I wasn't getting the rest that I needed. I wasn't getting I think attention or acceptance. My husband came, he was at this space where he was like, oh, she can do everything. She's fine. She can
Yeah.
handle anything, you know.
Mm.
But I was inside me, I was screaming like I wanted to
Help.
just like exactly. And I also I think growing up, I didn't realize it, but there was some point in my life I started noticing that there's something called bipolarism. So I
Mm.
was playing around with the term a lot because many times I'll be like excited and happy, and then sometimes I'll be like really moody and sad. And I was reading a lot of self-help books and all of that, and I was getting really familiar with the term, and I wasn't sure if that was what was wrong with me because I couldn't really explain the mood swings at certain points. So getting into my 20s, my late 20s, marriage, it became like so much more because I had these goals I wanted to achieve, but sometimes I just wouldn't be able to move myself. I'll just be in this
Mm.
space mentally. And so when I spoke to someone who is like in my very close circle, the person told me maybe I need to talk to a therapist. And I was like, these are not mad people that talk to like
Mm.
things. Why would you be asking me to do
Mhm.
that? Like I'm normal. And
Mm.
then I went online and did more research. And that's one thing with me. I love to research
Yeah.
stuff before I
Mhm.
yeah. So I found out, it was something that would be very helpful if it was with the right person.
Yeah.
And so when I contacted the lady, I talked to her about my challenges, and she seemed really easy to talk to.
Mm.
And then, I think she was a high point. There was a high point in my conversation with her where I shared stuff that I didn't even know I was feeling at the time. So, one of the things she asked me to do was to write my feelings down because I'm very expressive with writing.
Yeah.
And yeah, so she asked me to write what I was feeling. The times I couldn't put words to it, so I'll just write. And then I told her anytime I'm arguing, I argue better when I'm writing.
Yeah.
So she told me,
I know that
okay.
feeling. Yeah.
So she'll be like, okay, write it down. And then I found out writing helped me. It was therapeutic for me, almost like listening to certain kinds of music. I love classic, by the way. It helps me, it
Mm.
calms me down. Yeah. So I started journaling, and yeah, I found out that was really helpful. And so in answering the questions, people will be like, how you so I started using my uh, journals to respond to questions. What
Ah.
about pregnancy? What about this? What about that? So different. That's why there are like different entries.
Mm.
Maybe about work, or maybe about the kids, maybe
Mm.
about my personal body positivity.
Mhm.
Because at some point I felt like I wasn't beautiful enough. I wasn't like
Yeah.
I felt I should be happy to get any kind
Mm.
of attention that I was accorded. But then going through that session with the lady actually opened my eyes to a lot of things, and that was me. I think the inspiration, journaling and then answering the questions that a lot of people throw at me, because out there I seemed really successful. I was doing
Yeah.
this, I was doing that, and I looked like Superwoman, but then Superwoman was screaming for help.
Mm.
Yeah, so Therapy Muslimah was my way of like
Yeah.
betting a story that people can
Yeah.
understand that it doesn't all look easy. There are
Mhm.
actually issues that on the line, and writing helps me to deal with that.
Mhm. And I think it also is very helpful. It's like it's like you said, it's your own outlet, it's your own therapy
Mm-hmm.
to write out your
Mm-hmm.
thoughts, and
Mm-hmm.
we all need to have that outlet to maintain
Yeah.
sanity. I mean, even if it's not
Women.
writing, yes, that could be, it could be knitting, it could be, whatever. But I think it's important for
Some
women to,
people just talk to other persons
yes, yeah,
and they're fine.
yeah. And therapy, I think, has a very bad rep in the Black community in Africa and Nigeria. Well, like we all feel
Yeah.
like, oh, you should be able to deal with it. And that whole idea of someone is dealing with worse, why can't you manage yours? Like, don't invalidate my own, trauma because or stress. Just because someone is going through worse
There
does
was a
not mean,
exactly.
yeah.
There was a point I was going through stuff. I think in my first year of marriage, I didn't want to stay anymore. I
Mm,
felt my husband wasn't understanding me. I felt
mm,
trapped and I felt I wanted to leave. And I was talking to a sister and I was expressing to her and I said to her, there are times I feel like just ending it all. And she
yeah.
was like, ending what? What would you come? Don't be talking like all these white people. You can't
Hmm.
be ending anything. You have a husband. Many people have a husband and they can't get a husband and you have a job. Do you know how many people are looking for a job? They don't have a
Yeah.
job. You have a job, you have all these things. So what are you talking about ending it? Please, 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 please. Just go and sleep and pray. And
Mm,
then you'll be fine.
yeah. Like it's ridiculous. It's not allowing us to express, and those are the things that one bottles up, and they compound, because you just feel like you're alone in your thoughts, alone in your fears, or alone in your anxiety. So I think it's something that as a society we need to work on, allowing women to share their thoughts. Like obviously in that moment you thought you wanted to end it, but really you didn't, right? You just needed someone to listen.
Yeah.
you
To
know
listen exactly.
yeah, sometimes that's all it takes,
Exactly.
someone to listen and not invalidate your emotions and feelings.
Feelings.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, you mentioned something also that is very important. I mean, like the chapter on body positivity, like
Mm-hmm.
before marriage, after marriage, if you're having kids, there's all these things you deal with, changes, and we're in a world where everything is visual, right? You always want
Mm,
to look
mm,
your best and feel your best, and it is
mm,
very normal, like after having children and you're going back into the
mm-hmm,
workspace, or you're going
mm-hmm.
back to school if you're someone who is studying, and you look
Yes.
different, or while you're pregnant you still go to work and your body is changing. That also adds some
Yes.
emotional layers to us as
To
women. And
it.
yeah, and we deal with it in ways that some people just go close up in their shell and not are not able to function, and it can affect motivation, it can affect productivity. And
Yes.
yeah, so I read that chapter, but how were you able to deal with that and overcome that to the point where now you love the body you live in?
Mm-hmm. I think it's just a thing of the mind.
Yeah,
It's just a thing of the mind, and it takes daily practice.
yeah.
It started one day, and right now I could just be looking at myself in the mirror and I could be like just appreciating. I think many people they
Yeah,
a lot of people when they look at themselves, they don't appreciate what they see. They want to be thinner or they want to be
critical.
fatter or they want to exactly. And I used to be that person, but when I started looking at myself with kindness and
Mm,
realizing that this is the best body that I could ever be in, and if
yeah.
I wanted different, I should work towards being different in a way and manner that, is preservative and sustainable, and
Mm.
not a manner that tomorrow I'll be like, I think maybe I should do more of this or I should reduce that. And I always say to my friends who are on the diet, I'm like, I can't imagine not eating shawarma because like, excuse me,
Mhm.
a couple of pounds, I'm going to work it out.
Yeah.
But like, there's so much deliciousness waiting to be consumed.
Mm.
And then you tell me because you're waiting for like an extra, like, what if you die
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you don't get to eat all these beautiful things? Like, so
Yeah.
I'm at that place now where it's crazy, but I'm still like, whatever, go girl, you look beautiful. I think
Mm.
beauty is more than what you weigh or what
Mm.
you look like. It's from inside. So once you believe that that's what you are and who you are, irrespective of your body size and what else, it does a whole lot for your mentality. It
Mm.
does a whole lot for your aura. When you come into a place, people notice you, irrespective of how big or how thin you are. It's all in the mind. So when you start with maybe I started with, it was crazy, but I'll look at myself in the mirror and I'll say all these beautiful things like, I love your nose, I love this, and I love that. At
Mm.
one point, my husband will be looking at me like, are you okay? And I'm like, I'm very fine, but don't you just like this about me? Don't you just like that? And the funny thing is that the more you proclaim these things, you begin to accept those things about yourself. You don't want to change it per se, and you just begin to accept it. And those things you focus on, other people focus on it too.
Yeah.
So when you begin to focus on, oh, I'm so pretty, oh, I'm so this, other people begin to see that. But when you're focusing on, oh, I'm so fat, or I'm so thin, or I'm so dark, people are like, yeah, you're
Mm.
dark, true,
It's what you
So
put out there, the energy. Yeah.
exactly,
Mm.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean, I think that is a good way for us to put a pin on this conversation because there's so much more we
mhm.
can discuss, right?
Yeah.
But like I said, I am very proud of the book you're able to put down all these things that we as women can
Thank you
relate
so
to.
much.
Yeah, there's
Thank you so much.
a lot in there about parenting, about relationships, about being a
Yeah.
mother, and how I'm trying to be a successful career person and trying to
Yeah.
maintain your own sanity, right? It's
Exactly.
really good that you, from a personal level, you explain how you were able to deal with your own burnouts and stresses, and
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
when you have emotional blockers, you
Yeah.
create avenues where, whether it's through writing or through talking to people, and
Yeah.
also it's important to have people in your corner who are supportive. In your case, you have a
Yes.
husband who
Very
is good.
important.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so I think this is a good message for us to put out there, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a starting point. I'm hoping for a volume 2 of this book to come soon, right?
Yes, it will. Everybody's asking me. They're like, "Oh, I
Yeah.
finished it." So, like, where is the second part already?
Yeah. Yeah. So think about that. And where can
Yeah.
people find it now? Is it online for people who are listening and are not in Nigeria? How can they find it? The name of the book is Diary
Okay.
of a Muslimah by Nafisa Abdulmalik.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, Nafisa Amadu
Amadu
Abdulmalik.
Abdulmalik. Sorry.
Yes, yes. Yes, so it's online on Amazon, the soft copy only, because I made some edits on the print copy,
Okay.
and Amazon has not updated that yet. Previously, the paperback and soft copy was available on Amazon, but
Mm.
currently just the soft copy is available on Amazon, and then it's also available on locally. It's available in two bookshops. There's Spine and Label. They are in
Mm.
Lagos and Abuja. And
Mm.
then there's Roving Heights. They are
Mm.
in Lagos and Abuja as well. And then you can, on Conga Books, it's there, but I think I got a message yesterday that I need to do some updating. But then it
Mm.
was there live since 2 weeks ago. So I think maybe between now and, I think between now and Friday, I should be able to resolve whatever issues it's having on Conga Books. So those are the platforms that it's currently available on. And yes, there's Seller. I
Mm.
think Seller, yeah, you can use Seller. There's a link to
Okay.
go to get it on Seller. Yeah.
Okay, so we will share the links on this episode notes. And this is the Career Gems podcast. We're very grateful to have had Nafisa on the show. And you
Thank you
can
so
find
much.
us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere you listen to your podcast. Until next time, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Dr. Nura, too. Bye.
You're welcome.